So good morning, everyone. My name is Ben Zuniga from the Department of Science and Technology, specifically the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources Research and Development, or PICARD. So for this morning, I'll be presenting the climate change impacts on tropical fruits in the Philippines, focusing on adaptation and mitigation technologies and initiatives. Now, for the fruit industry outlook of the Philippines, I have consolidated here statistics on major fruit industries in the Philippines, and it was shown that on the average from 2013 to 2023, a 10-year period, the major fruit industries in the Philippines are coconut, banana, pineapple, mango, calamansi, which is a local citrus, coffee, and cacao. Now, if we look into the details of these tropical fruits, like for example, the volume of production, the 10-year data shows that the trend in terms of the volume of production for banana, pineapple, and cacao seems to be increasing over the 10-year period. However, for coconut, mango, and coffee, the trend seems to be decreasing. And the reasons primarily for this is that climate change impacts are fairly evident. Like, for example, in coconut, you can see a significant decline in 2013 and 2014 when we were bombarded by very strong typhoons, and in 2016 when we experienced extreme drought conditions. Now, for mango, the decrease was due to the infestation of sesame flies, and there is also a high post-harvest losses that was documented by key stakeholders. For coffee, on the other hand, the problem is we have old tree plantations that are less productive, and of course, the usual limited technologies that are available to farmers. Now, in terms of the area planted, there has been a trend an increasing trend for pineapple, coconut, and cacao, but a decreasing trend for banana, mango, and coffee. Among the documented reasons for the decrease in terms of the area planted is farmers shifting to a different profitable crop. And also, I think some of my Philippine colleagues here can relate that our agriculture lands are converted into housing and other commercial areas. Now, in terms of the value of production, although we have experienced different challenges, both anthropogenic and climate change related, the value of production seems to be increasing for all of these major fruits. However, we are losing some of the opportunities because of these challenges. In terms of exports and imports, among our major exports are coconut products, bananas, and pineapples. And in terms of imports, we seem to be importing a bit of coffee because we are in short supply of our local coffee in the Philippines. This slide here just shows the basic statistics about climate change and agriculture in the Philippines, and based on the latest data of our Department of Agriculture, we have about 290 billion pesos or 4.9 billion US dollars production losses, which is due to climate change related hazards. And our fruit industry also shared the same burden, wherein 17% has been on coconut, and then 9% for banana and other high value crops, 6%, which includes coffee, mango, and cacao. There are around 10 million Filipinos who work in the agriculture sector, and the latest data also shows that our farmers and fisher folk are also the most vulnerable, and one of the reasons mainly is due to high poverty incidence rate compared to other basic sectors. It is also ironic to say that although our farmers is providing food on our table, studies have shown that about a quarter of our agricultural households are food insecure. Now, for climate change impacts in selected fruit industry, I would just like to focus on our Department of Agriculture, or the DA, which is the primary agency in the Philippines that is responsible for developing our agricultural sector. Actually, our DA has a unit which is called the Climate Resilience Adaptation Office, or CRAO, and their major program is AMIA, or Adaptation and Mitigation Initiative in Agriculture. So they transfer their technologies in climate change in agriculture through the AMIA villages, which is a unit or group of farmers that has the same commodity and experiencing the same impacts of climate change. And then they provide the necessary investments and technologies and other initiatives through these AMIA villages. They are also responsible for conducting climate resilient vulnerability assessments in the Philippines nationwide, which is a comprehensive framework to identify the different vulnerable areas in the Philippines in terms of climate change impacts. Now, for our agency, which is the Department of Science and Technology, our agency, which is the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources, is actually mandated to provide government funds in developing different technologies, innovative technologies actually, to combat climate change impacts in our agriculture sector. One of our major or flagship programs is called Project Saray, or Smarter Approaches to Reinvigorate Agriculture as an Industry in the Philippines, which basically aims to provide science-based decision support tools, climate crop advisories, and other forecasting initiatives to reduce the impacts of climate change in our agriculture sector. It basically anchors in climate smart agriculture, precision agriculture through the use of artificial intelligence, remote sensing, and other tools to provide science-based crop advisories and forecasts. Now, one of the recent climate change problems that we have just recently experienced in the Philippines is heat stress or drought. We just had experienced this during the last season, and based on the latest data, we have about 26,000 hectares of land affected by the recent drought and El Nino, and it's about 1.2 billion pesos, that cost about 1.2 billion pesos in damages. Now, to combat these drought conditions or El Nino, one of the developed technologies of our project Saray is the Drought and Crop Assessment Forecasting, or DCAP. It basically aims to detect, monitor, and forecast drought events 6 months prior to its in the actual phenomenon, so that it will be able to generate maps that can be used to generate drought indexes that is suitable to the Philippine conditions, and of course give specific crop advisories to our farmers ahead of the drought. We also have the what we call Water Advisory for Irrigation Scheduling System, or WISE, which is a smart monitoring and decision platform that can provide our farmers with an efficient approach for crop irrigation. So basically, this allows or gives advisories to our farmers on what is the right amount of irrigation or water should be given to a specific land, and of course give it in at the right time and at the right place. It also incorporates climate data, soil characteristic, crop types, and other farm management strategies in terms of irrigation requirements and scheduling. Now, another climate change impact that has been bombarding the Philippines is, of course, excessive rainfall and typhoons. This particular image here shows the track of all the typhoons that have passed through the Philippines in 60 years. And you might wonder, where is the Philippines? So it is actually here. So as you can see, it is one of the climate change impacts that is a major climate change impact that has been affecting our agriculture sector. We are actually on average receiving about 20 typhoons in a year. So it is one of the most pressing actually challenges of climate change in the Philippines. With this, Project Saray has developed what we call automatic weather stations, which are used for weather monitoring and forecasting, and the use of unmanned aerial vehicle or drones for crop health assessment. So basically, these technologies provide real-time weather data and short-term weather forecasts for crop monitoring and advisories. We also have specific technologies for banana, wherein they develop dwarf cultivars. Based on their research, apparently, these short cultivars are more tolerant to typhoons, and because of their short stature, they are they easily mature and also have less exposure to pests and diseases. We also have what we call, for pest and disease incidents, the SpeedTech, or Smarter Pest Identification Technology, which is an application for the digital identification of pests and diseases that can be made available to farmers. We also have the BioCoat C, which is a particle film technology for cacao pests. to prevent the damage caused by different insects in cacao pods specifically. It's basically a spray mixture of inorganic substrates mixed with an entomopathogen to control the entry of insects in the cacao pods. There have also been developed nanobiosensors and diagnostic kits to detect the causal organisms for the different diseases of cacao and mango. And for pollination disruption, we have different technologies to help farmers identify the best harvest date, which is Banatech for banana or banana harvest date calculator, and CAPE for coffee application and harvest rate in coffee. So for soil health degradations, we have developed suitability maps to determine which crops are more suitable to a specific locality in the Philippines, and multi-location trials of promising clones, and using unmanned ground vehicles or drones-aided systems which have sensors to monitor soil nutrients in coffee farms. So I just pass quickly here. I just compiled here the different climate change mitigation that we have developed. We have now greenhouses that are solar powered. This one is for cacao and the other one is for coffee. And we have agricultural waste is being turned into usable forms such as charcoal briquettes, and less use of chemical fertilizers, which also includes biocontrol measures. For the best practices, we have, as I have mentioned, AMIA Villages, which is a unit of farmers that are experiencing the same impacts. And then the farmers themselves identify what are the impacts in their land or in their farms. And then basically, the goal of this approach is to graduate these AMIA Villages into a climate resilient agriculture technology-based enterprises. So this science and technology is a program of our agency, which is just a technology transfer modality. So we can better transfer all our developed technologies directly into our farmers. And this is a project which integrates co-management and co-decision making with our policymakers and then the farmers. And then we integrate those climate change related frameworks and impacts and solutions, adaptations and mitigations initiatives into their national climate change, local climate change action plans and land use planning through the use of scenario building and modeling. So I think that's all for my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.